morning. Among the studies of false documents, only little attention has been given to epigraphic forgeries. In 1970, Silvio Pancera pointed out that among the Latin inscriptions of the entire Roman world, one document in every 15 is false. Even in the Veneto area, 1 in 10 documents is not authentic. False inscriptions can be divided into 2 categories: forged inscriptions made on stone or on other material, such as bronze or amber, and those only known from manuscripts. This paper will focus on the first category. From a quantitative point of view, this represents just over a quarter of the entire Venetian corpus of false inscriptions, just under 100 units. Before talking about their antiquarian market, it is necessary to define what a false inscription is. For the historians, all post-classical inscriptions passing off as ancient, whether for antiquarian or commercial purposes, have to be considered forgeries. Falsifications can be regarded as a type of imitation of the antique. However, they differ from new creations or simple copies because the mendacity does not lie in the object itself, but in the purpose for which the object was created and exhibited to contemporary audiences. A classical example is Giusti Gardens in Verona. Count Gian Giacomo Giusti, son in one of the most important families of Verona, wished to transform these gardens into a sanctuary of muses, where he would have spent time with his friends, dedicated to the arts and literature. In the gardens, he arranged his collection of ancient inscriptions and completed the decorative layout with further modern inscriptions, composed by those writers who were part of his circle. An example is an ancient votive dedication to the genius of playfulness, Musa and Flora, engraved on a slab of local limestone, decorated with 2 pilasters with sofa capitals holding up a frame. The inscriptions alludes to classical ideals, but was made for decorative purposes and was never passed off as antique. Another significant example is the initiative of Arnaldo Tornieri, who planned the project for a museum that would gather all the Latin inscriptions of Vicenza. In order to collect them, Tornieri commissioned copies of inscriptions from other collections and tried to convince some of the owners to exchange their originals for the copies. The only item preserved is a sacred inscription found in the church of San Martino alle Aste. The new text is similar to the original, but there are 2 differences. The original is engraved on an altar of local stone. The copy is made instead of a slab. At the bottom of the copy, there is also an indication of the creation's date, authenticum dono datum, etc. In this case, the copies were intended to replace the original and to compensate the previous collector for the loss. Let's now move to the history of this market of forgeries. It's not always clear when these objects were created. In the absence of reliable information, we decide to adopt the following criterion. The object was made when it was first mentioned in manuscripts, books, or catalogs. The largest number of false inscriptions on stone were created in the 18th and early 19th century, followed by those of the 16th century. From a geographical point of view, we found forgeries on stone and other materials in every town in Veneto, with the exception of Asolo and Oderzo. The towns with the highest number of fakes are Padua and Verona, with 31 and 26 evidences, followed, surprisingly, by the small village of Feltre, near Belluno, with 18 evidences. It's important to note that the presence of these forgeries in each town does not imply that they had been created in that particular location. A clue of a different origin is the use of non-local material or the reuse of an ancient artifact not attested in the Veneto area. The type of material is also an indicator of the processing place. Unlike material such as Carrara or Greek marbles, which were exported already embellished or to be processed, local materials were mostly manufactured in workshops near the quarry for local customers. For the production point of view, it is possible to trace the presence of workshops in Padua, Verona, Venice, and Feltre. These workshops were not specialized in the creation of false inscriptions and worked on commission, developing products in collaboration with scholars and collectors. Their creations were not part of a big trade and had only a local circulation. In a second phase, urban products arrived in Veneto as they were purchased by major collectors like Obizi Alcataio or Nani in Venice. With the fragmentation of these collections, false inscriptions flowed into other local collections, not connected, however, with the trade in Rome. Venice seems to play a key role in the collection of antiquities. It's clear that those inscriptions not produced locally were mainly created in Rome. The origin can be detected by analyzing the object, as we already seen, or the text. The first case is some bronze plates found in Venice and Padua, which reproduce the text of two urban inscriptions. Other examples of these objects are known around Italy, each with some textual variation. These objects could be interpreted as souvenirs for visitors of the Eternal City. The Venetian case confirms the idea that Rome was the keystone of this market. As Maria Pia Bilanovic said, here public and private collection, I quote, prospered much more numerous and abundant than anywhere else. Here a dealer of antiquities could meet more easily with other dealers. Furthermore, the exuberant richness of the Roman soil allowed managers and craftsmen of this industry to procure authentic ancient marbles, stones, or urns ready to be inscribed. So let's briefly consider the buyers of these false inscriptions. In the introduction of Is dalla terra ai castelli, Tubert suggests that forgeries highlight an implied contract between the forger and his audience. In some cases, the collectors were simple buyers. In other cases, they were themselves the creators of the text, perhaps in order to prove illustrious family origins. Most often, however, they were simply victims of fraud by cunning antiquarians. In a letter to Luigi Pindemonti in 1748, Scipione Maffei suggested to be wary of this kind of man. In Rome, everything could happen, and sometimes great things. The stonemasons have always inscriptions to sell, but we have to go there not by carriage, because then they insist in selling them to you. It's necessary to arrive incognito in the morning. So, thank you.